Welcome to the weekly meeting, episode 2, everybody. Little intro. Welcome back. We're gonna have our boy Lil Biscuits, new guest on the show. Also
Yo, yo,
joining
yo.
back in is Shaggy
Yep.
and Arizona Ranger David, as kindly referred to as David.
We can go with David.
We're gonna hop through what happened this week. Sounds like we're gonna do New Year's resolutions, led by Lil Biscuits here. We're going to explain the Sunday night football game, Bills Dolphins. I've got some Broncos fan interviews. Shout out to Mike and Brennan and Dean. They gave us quite some intense insight on what has happened in the Broncos organization over the last lifetime. So that's a fun one. Stick around for that. We've got a couple more bits by Lil Biscuits here, and then our serious topic of the week is all about some tunnels in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we're gonna have so many bits, but little biscuits can call them little bitskits.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a wordplay.
We're welcoming on today Lil Biscuits. I truly don't know how to introduce such a character. Would you like to say you have 10-30 seconds to introduce
Yo,
yourself?
Lil Biscuits here, aka Chaba, aka the Ginger, aka Woof. I live in Seattle. I do stuff and things in Seattle. So happy to be on the show talking today. It's a good day.
Yeah, well, welcome, little biscuits.
That's me. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Lil Biscuit.
Do you prefer the T's with the L's, like as in little or lil?
It's
You know,
it's
we're-
Lil Biscuit.
Lil biscuits. Okay, I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. All right.
Let's do Mr. David. Do you have an update for us on any music or soundboard for some intro on this pod?
Been a little busy this week, so we'll try to get to that hopefully next week at some point. But yeah, fingers crossed I can get something moving.
Slacking it.
As of
It's
right
a-
now, just stock sounds. So have fun dealing with it.
Perfect little segue into what happened this week.
What happened?
What happened for Zesty? Really was a pretty quiet week. I went on like a hike, and I went to the driving range yesterday, and it was beautiful weather, and then it's supposed to snow in Portland throughout the weekend. So if anything, I'm just kind of preparing to not do anything. The whole city shuts down. I might be able to go to a bar if it's open, but that's about it. It's a quiet week for Zesty. And
You could go crash your car.
Yeah,
that's
fun.
a thing to do.
That's an
just
option.
a nice ice slide down into the tunnel of Portland.
It's a company car. You won't pay for it.
You're right.
Exactly. Yeah, the cop pulls you over, asks what you're doing, and you're like, Voodoo Donuts.
I'm here for the donuts, man. What happened this week, Shaggy?
A whole lot of nothing. It's just been getting colder and colder and colder. I meant to set up a humidifier in this room before we started this evening, but instead I'm just actively drying. So I'm just gonna get progressively more jerky as the interview goes on.
David?
Been a pretty busy week. Beginning of the week was fiance's birthday, so took her out, did some surprise stuff. It was good. Went to like a speakeasy. We went through a ice cream shop into a freezer to get to the speakeasy, which was pretty dope. So I think that might be a new thing, is just checking out a bunch of speakeasies. And another highlight, we saw the Globetrotters. And that was interesting. I will say that. It was yeah, I mean, dude, I put $50 down on the Generals. My own damn fault, but you think after like 98 years they might win, but it still has to happen. So yeah.
That's like a Make-A-Wish weekend.
Yeah, dude. Been busy. Still busy. Gonna be busy. Going to New York this weekend. Gonna be busy.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Wait, what's in New York?
There's that
Some
one
tunnels.
really big lady. Oh yeah, there's some
Yeah.
tunnels.
There's some tunnels,
Yeah.
people
So
too. Yeah.
There's some
It's a new
tunnels,
attraction.
trains.
Now I figure out. Now I know why you're going there.
He brushed up on his Yiddish.
L'chaim.
Lil Biscuits. What happened this week?
Oh shit! It's is it Wednesday or it's Thursday this week?
Thursday.
this week a lot happened. I'm already on my New Year's resolution. I ran a lot, almost passed out yesterday running around Seattle. I worked in the office. It's what regular stuff. And how do we edit this?
This is when Lil Biscuits realized he was being recorded. This is when the weed hits.
So, Lil Biscuits, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So with your New Year's resolution, you're running a lot. Yeah, that's what you just said.
Every year, yeah.
Okay.
Usually hits right
So
in
is it
January.
every year? Just January?
Just for the first few days in January, I run about 10 miles, and then
Boy.
that's about it.
Do you think
see,
you
like-
might be like going too hard and then tiring yourself out?
What's your
this?
Yeah.
motivation? Like,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
imagine
Just kill yourself all up.
zombies are chasing you, or do you imagine you're chasing homeless people, or like what's your vibe? Like, what are you trying to do when you're running that makes you want to run that far? Because that sounds truly horrible.
I think of I'm running from fat me.
Running from fat you. Okay.
Yeah.
He's catching up.
Boy,
He's-
are
I think
running
you
from
should be
your
running
past or
from
your
bald
future?
you.
He's what?
I think you should be running from bald you. Bald you was pretty scary, so
Oh
That's
shit.
a good.
Yeah. So I just run away from all the thoughts of fat bald me, working in tech in 20 years. When I started working, one of my managers who was bald and old and fat said, "One day you will be like us." And since then, every year, New Year's, I run a lot.
We've all seen Jurassic Park. Just picture the guy.
Oh, fuck that guy. Yeah. The one who gets spit on in the face.
embryos.
No, it's not for me.
Newman. It's Newman from Seinfeld.
Newman. Yeah.
Don't be Newman.
Newman.
Is that your only New Year's resolution, to run more?
I want to get more active in the work communities around like the stuff I'm interested in. It's like networking and talking to people, instead of just hiding and writing code alone all the time. So that's another New Year's resolution. And yeah, that's about it. These are the two big ones.
I'm looking to, so for those of you who don't know, I tore my ACL in March of last year. So pretty much everything is a New Year's resolution for me, as long as it involves being active. I'm looking to play a bunch of golf. I've been going to the driving range like 3 times a week. I'm looking forward to kicking all 3 of today's wonderful co-presenters' ass in some golf at some point here in the future. And that's probably just number one is stay on top of that. And then I've been going to the gym lately. I want to stay on top of that. As far as resolutions go, though, I don't know if I super believe in the idea of it's a new year. Now's the time to focus on bettering myself. I feel like you should always be kind of focused on bettering yourself, and whether or not that's the new year is a time to do that, I guess, if it helps the masses. But it seems like, specifically doing resolutions at the beginning of the year is just like a check-in. I guess that's nice.
You should tell that to the mob of people or the resolutioners that go to the gym at the beginning of the year and say you should have done this at other times. I'd appreciate that if you do that for me too.
I don't think my gym has increased at all.
Avoiding my climbing gym for that reason.
I've been avoiding my gym similarly.
I don't usually make resolutions. Yeah, no, I'm more just I don't know. It's hard to stick to them. So kind of like in your book there, why not just continuously do it instead of this is the major change I'm going to make first of the year. And then if some hiccup happens, well, there goes that entire change. I just failed that,
What are you drinking there, Shaggy?
This is rum, Navy Island, Jamaica
Or
rum.
NyQuil?
Are we sponsored?
You're just sipping rum?
Yeah.
Like an animal.
I gotta catch up with Lil Biscuit. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good dark rum. So
Lil Biscuit staggers in at the beginning of this before we even start recording. He's like, I've been drinking these beers for 3 hours.
Hey, 2 beers over 3 hours is low key. It's a Thursday. I work from home. Got a lot of stuff done. Helps me be innovative. So, yeah.
Yeah.
David, New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. My big one is releasing some music. Gonna try to be getting on that soon. Got some stuff that's complete for the most part, all mixed and mastered. Yeah, trying to figure out my niche, I guess. Been getting into, I mean, mostly like EDM stuff, some trap, future bass, things like that, but got to figure out my own sound because, all that stuff's super saturated with people. So you gotta, you gotta kind of push the envelope a little bit with what you're doing. So
The weekly meeting is accepting ad space if you'd like to get your name out there to our hundreds of thousands of listeners.
hundreds of thousands.
Mhm.
I'll put it out there. I'll put it out there in a little bit. Not right now, but we'll get there.
We're the 5th largest podcast in Pakistan. I don't know why they like it so much. It's pretty confusing. That was a fun fact that I got an email about.
It's probably the Jack in the Box reviews.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yelling going on that they might like that. I don't know.
Seems problematic.
You want to elaborate there?
Nope.
Davey, what's your DJ name?
My name's Hooli.
Hooli.
Short for hooligan.
DJ Hooli.
How do
But
you
not
spell that?
DJ, just Hooli.
Just Hooli.
Hoolie.
Like in Silicon Valley, the big
Yeah,
company.
yeah,
that's just
yeah.
good for Google.
I thought of
Hell
it
yeah.
before I watched Silicon Valley. So
Damn. When
Yeah.
was that though? Was that like a year ago?
that was drunk in Alaska sitting on the porch and thinking
Oh.
about it.
My God.
That's where it came.
Alaska. What a place.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Y'all know it.
It was a good
Hell yeah,
trip,
we do.
except for all the bugs, all the fucking bugs. And that walk up a ski mountain straight up a hill.
I just remember being stoned the entire time. That's
You were.
like we were
Hey.
hitting up a weed store every other drive. Was like
Biscuits and me swam in a glacier, so
that was
pretty
fucking
legit.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumped right into the runoff from this giant ice block.
Yep.
Yeah, that was next level Alaska shit right there.
Moving on to the next segment here. Shaggy, it's normally Shaggy explains the Sunday night football game. Brent this easy didn't watch it. Today we're going to have Lil Biscuits join in and explain the Bills-Dolphins game for us. Before they go too deep, I'll just say this was like a critical game for playoff seeding. Everyone was trying. It wasn't like a typical Week 18 NFL football game. Whoever won got the 2 seed in the playoffs versus the 6 seed. So, Shaggy, Lil Biscuits, whoever would like to start, what happened in this game?
Start off really, really quick here. The your explanation is a lot better than what Google pulled up. Because I don't know what the hell the AFC East is. So, yeah.
What do you think AFC stands for?
American Football College.
All
College.
foot cheese.
2 for 3. Foot
You're
cheese.
pretty close. American Football Conference.
The foot cheese was closer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about it. It's a lot of dudes, a lot of shoes, a lot of foot cheese.
You know, I'm reading about this game right now. I see 21-14. That sounds
Yeah.
like a pretty close game within one touchdown. But
You know what a touchdown is.
I know a thing about stuff.
What's
Like-
how many points are in a touchdown? Like I legitimately don't know. Would you do
I think you
6?
can get 7. I think it's 7.
7 points? Isn't that
Maybe
like
7 with the kick.
Is that a birdie or a par?
That's golf there, friend.
You sure about that? Hey man, both involve balls. Yeah, so anyways, 21-14. Buffalo Bills versus Dolphins. Buffalo Bills, is that in reference to the old Westerner Buffalo Bill? The myth, the man, the legend?
You know, I could not tell you the origins of where Buffalo got the Bills from. I mean, that's
definitely Buffalo Bill. What?
Buffalo, New York. I don't think that really was a big area where Buffalo Bill was prominent.
I wonder if
Pony
like
Express,
the first
man.
year they only allowed people on the team whose name was Bill. You know, they all had their little leather pinhead helmets on. It's like 1942. All the athletic ones were sent off to war, so it's just all all the leftovers that got to stay home and play football.
I was going to comment on the 1942 timeline. That seemed
Yeah. There is going somewhere with that, I don't know how old football is, but I'm assuming it's probably close to there. It seems like pretty transitional time for the US.
So Shaggy,
Uh,
would this game back then have included men named Bill playing against Dolphins? Or
yeah, no, like
okay,
when Dan mentioned I need to explain what the Buffaloes versus Bills, or no, sorry, the Bills versus Dolphins. I assumed that it was actually a guy named Bill fighting dolphins. Um, I was pretty quickly corrected because I was super excited to see that. But yeah, no, these are two football teams. Miami Dolphins, so apparently they're from Florida, and then Buffalo Bills, which it could be like Buffalo, fucking Nevada or something. You don't know.
the
It could
Buffalo,
be
Nevada Bills.
Oh
The
yeah,
yeah.
Nevada
famous
Buffalo
Buffalo,
Bills.
Nevada. That one.
Yeah.
Who said it's New York? New York's not in their name. Where are you getting that description?
Mr. Ginger Kid, what is your summary here of the game before we go into asking? I have some questions lined up.
I'm seeing 14 points by the Bills in the fourth quarter. That seems like wild. And the fact that it was within one touchdown and they got like two of them in the 21-14, it's a fucking low score game. Like the Bills just turned it around in the last quarter. I don't know where that came from. But what's more interesting is I'm seeing a Bills fan was shot after the game too. So it sounds like overall just a fucking hootenanny. Like
Yeah.
the Bills come back and then one of the fans gets shot. Everyone's partying in the streets of Buffalo or Miami or wherever the fuck they have these games.
It was in Miami, right? Yeah, it was in Miami.
I think Miami.
so
That would make sense if someone got shot.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a Dolphins fan who shot him, or was it, you think, a fellow Bills fan?
The Bills are a brotherhood. They're like a close knit fan base. It's
yeah, because they're all Bill.
Yeah.
Bills
This is definitely in Miami because I remember everyone was like, yeah, this will be nice. The people of Buffalo, New York, where it's 12 degrees right now, get to all pile into the same plane, fly down to Miami and take a vacation to watch the basically pre-playoff game.
Get shot,
some
apparently.
warm weather, a bunch of blow. Yeah, take a bullet for the team.
Warm weather, bunch of blow, take a bullet. Miami, come visit.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So before this game happened, the Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill had his house catch on fire. How do you think this affected his performance? Take it away, Lil Biscuits.
Wait, this is Dolphins wide receiver?
Yeah.
You said? So they lost a wide receiver. His house burned down. He's probably like, why did the house burn down? Do we have any more information on that?
He was receiving a message.
He was receiving a message, or did his
I believe one of his
the heater on?
He has many kids from a couple different women.
Okay, sounds about right.
I think one of them lit something on fire.
Man.
Lit it on fire or left the hair dryer on? Like
Baby mama
they were arson.
I can't answer. I don't know enough info.
If it were me, I'd be thinking the whole time. I'd be like, "What the fuck? Did they set the fire or did they God damn, it's burnt. I got to focus on work right now." But it'd be in the back of my mind, and how would that impact the performance of a wide receiver? Trying to catch stuff and fires. I don't really know. I'm sure it was on his mind.
Probably heated up his game.
Wait, did he miss any catches? Was there any action with this guy? Did he take a ball to the face that he was just looking off into the distance, like, oh fuck, my house is gone?
Tyreek had 7 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown.
Well, maybe he was like, fuck, I need to buy a new house. Let's get that dough. 2 ways it could go, really. Just
Shaggy, thoughts on Tyreek Hill here?
I guess my question would be with whoever set the house on fire, is that the same person who shot the Bills fan? Because they hate but love this person. Think about that. Yeah. I guess let me ask you this: if you were going to burn down your baby daddy's house, how would you do it?
I mean, yeah, I'd probably give a lighter to like one of the kids that isn't mine.
Oh, you
That's
think the
pretty
kid did
easy.
it?
I
Okay.
bet, yeah.
Do they just store the children there when nobody's using them or what? Like, why there's just a bunch of kids there alone? The fuck?
I gotta say is that guy better have some good investments or something, because the amount of alimony he's gonna be paying afterwards, and when
I mean,
he's not making money off of football, he better have endorsements out the ass and investments out the ass, because
he's
otherwise
get
he is gonna be one of those broke NFL players in the first 5 years of retirement.
he's gonna get a sick insurance payout though.
Right? He said it did
Maybe
$2.3 million worth of damage to his how much can a house be worth?
more than $2.3 million.
Let's
I mean,
see. It's a
Houses are
$6.9 million
expensive.
mansion.
Oh shit,
oh
that's
A
my
third of it
god.
went down.
yeah,
It
and the
was
memories
caused
too.
by a child playing with a lighter. I predicted it. We got it.
Oof, oof, what a crazy child. They just
Let's
have
bring that
lighters around the place.
we'll bring that question to group. If you're trying to burn down your baby daddy's house, how would you do it?
I'm the baby mama in this case, or am I the
Yes.
child that's
In
like
any
vengeful?
case, you are the baby mama. You are
You know, if
burning
I was
down your
to
baby
burn
daddy's
down a
house.
house,
You're a
I
scorned baby
would,
mama.
do I get the insurance? I'd want to get the insurance, and so I just set a fire on all my stuff. Maybe.
Well, you're not living at the house.
Okay,
You're a scorned baby mama. You are
or baby mama.
enacting revenge of sorts. That's your inspiration. What is your method?
Yeah.
They can smell it.
Something inconspicuous, like I'd give a kid a lighter and be like, "Hey, those curtains are not flammable. Go test it." It's a little
Just
science
run out.
lesson.
Like, I bet you
Yeah.
can't burn the house down.
No, you got to stick with it. Be there. Yeah. Like, oh my God, the kid was so dumb. Like, he burnt the whole house down. I don't
Hey, you
know
want
what
to
he
make
was
10
doing.
bucks?
Yeah.
Moving on to the second question here, as we've devolved into burning down a house.
It's fucking great. This is awesome.
Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa threw a
Tonga what now?
game-ending Tua Tagovailoa
All right.
threw
I can
a
flex that one.
game-ending interception. So with this critical mistake, do you think the number of Tuanon supporters will decrease?
I'm sorry, wait. What was the question? I think I like had a stroke halfway through there. I don't know what you just said.
Tua Tagovailoa threw a
Oh my god.
game-ending interception.
Yep.
How do you think this affects the members of Tuanon?
Tuanon or
Yes,
QAnon?
same thing.
Tu Okay, so I'm assuming Tuanon is the fan group of Tua Tatunga Tua what? Whatever. Anyways, yeah, I think
Tagovailoa.
Tunga Viola. That's a weird
Tug of
violin.
Viola, just say
Tunga
that.
Viola. You start plucking. Anyways, yeah, I have no idea what your question was, so I'm just gonna step out.
Thoughts
I
on-
think the Dolphins fans that had to see this, they would want to get shot.
You're a Bills
And
fan who got
I
shot.
actually think I agree here. This is
Yeah.
the time.
you kidding me? Like, we were up 14 in the second, and then you throw an interception to fuck the whole thing. Like, kill me now. Are you kidding me? Tagawala Chaba Daba? Like, I can pronounce your name, first of all. I was trying to be on your side, but now you're doing this shit. Like, yeah. The question was, what would the fans, what was it?
Do you think
Tuanon.
the number of Tuanon
The fans have
supporters,
decreased.
do you think it's
Yeah,
going to
because
decrease? Yeah.
they've killed themselves. That's too much.
Shot
I don't
themselves.
know.
That's how
Yeah.
the Bills fan got
They
shot.
shot each
is,
other.
Yeah,
In Miami, just
they
like,
missed.
is there another football team to follow, or just like find another hobby at that point? Like, Tagawala isn't pulling his weight anymore. He fucked this game. It's just the only thing I have to live for down here aside from cocaine. So, like, I'm just gonna do that, I guess. I don't know. The life of people in Miami.
I'm okay with
Sick.
this. As a Patriots fan, I'm okay with the Dolphins slander. This is fun. I'm going to list a couple players on the Bills and Dolphins that had a rushing attempt. So they ran
What's
the
a
ball.
rushing attempt? Okay, yeah.
They give him the ball. It's not like a throw, like they give it to him and then he runs. So I want you to rank how well they performed in this game It'll be by average yards per carry,
Okay.
just based on their name. I'd like you and Lil Biscuits to put this together.
Okay.
There are 5 guys.
I need graph paper.
I mean, that's up to you as to how you want to present it.
Okay.
But I don't know if you want to write this down. Are you ready? We've got
I'll make a PowerPoint later.
James Cook.
James Cook. Okay. Well, real quick, let me specify on the rules here. You want me to guess how far they ran based off their?
I want you to guess how well they performed in this game based off their name.
Okay, James Cook.
Okay. We've got James Cook, Devon Achane, Jeff Wilson Jr., Josh Allen, and Leonard Fournette.
All right. James Cook sounds like a NPC. He played completely average that entire game.
You're gonna put him at like 3? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I'm gonna put him at like 4 because there's 5, and I feel like there was somebody who did better than him. Because James Cook just seems like kind of the name itself is just very like vanilla, you know.
Lil Biscuits.
We're on Leonard.
You could be.
Yeah,
Wait. We're on James Cook.
Leonard
Yeah.
was a hard 2 for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking all these names. Devon has to be the best performer.
Devon was number 1, hands down.
Yeah.
Not even gonna like I don't remember his last name.
I don't even think I need to explain that one. Devon, he fucking kills.
I don't even
Then
know
we
who the
got
third guy was.
James, Jeff, Josh. They fucking know. Yeah.
Triple J, come on. No, those guys are bottom 3 for sure.
And then Leonard, I don't know where to place Leonard.
Leonard's number 2. Leonard's right up on him, man. Him and who is it, Devon? Yeah, Leonard and Devon were like neck and neck that entire game. Because Leonard is like 6'7" and just has him like unreal speed for such a large creature. Leonard's an animal.
A creature.
Yeah. That's
That's-
no human.
We've got slot 3 and slot 5 open. Right now, there is Devon Achane at 1, Leonard Fournette at 2, James Cook at 4, Jeff Wilson Jr. and Josh Allen are still on the board.
Jeff Wilson Jr. is like, man, he's bottom tier for sure. He only got on the team because his dad paid for it.
Jeff Wilson Sr.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we know what Jeff
Case
Wilson
in point.
Sr. does?
It doesn't matter. He has enough money.
His father, Wilson Sr., sang in a gospel group, and Wilson backed him up on the drums.
Gospel? You said gospel group? This guy's number
I-
2.
Gospel group.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah.
No,
That's
his
Over
dad,
Leonard?
not him. His dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leonard.
It's in the family. Gospel.
Here's what I'm.
Yeah.
Man, here's
I'm
what
thinking this
though.
guy,
This
knows
is a
how to play
rebellious
football.
teen.
he's an athlete.
He's an athlete, but he's not God's athlete. That's Leonard.
God's athlete.
See, Leonard is basically like the name of an archangel. So he's already up there, number 2.
Yeah.
You know, he's above gospel. He's who the gospel's about. Leonard is a
Whoever has a
goddamn
biblical
machine.
name is going to be taken
Yeah.
over.
I'm
likes to do that.
assuming Leonard is biblical. It sounds biblical. It also sounds like the name of like a 70-year-old doctor. But Leonard is an animal.
Are James or Josh the quarterback?
Josh Allen's a quarterback.
Josh. Okay, I was gonna guess. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess one of them was the quarterback. Because Josh, that's a quarterback type name. Quarterback throws for 21 points. These are Dolphins players.
They're on
They're
both
at-
teams.
Lil Biscuits, listen, if you named a dolphin Josh, would you expect Josh to go very fast?
I mean, if he's a shitty quarterback, then he'd be running.
No, I'm thinking like a literal dolphin. If you
get
named him
tackled all the
literal,
fucking
a
time.
real living dolphin Josh,
A
and
real
you put
dolphin
Josh,
named
in an
Josh.
Olympic like sprint pool, how fast would Josh go?
Definitely not as
Not
fast
nearly
as
as-
Devon.
Not as fast as Leonard, bro. You know what? Leonard's number 1.
Leonard's number 1. Do
Leonard's
you
number
concur?
1.
Do you concur there, Biscuits?
I know. No, I'm gonna go Devon, then the junior Jeff guy, and
All right, we're
then
breaking up the list.
Junior Jeff guy, number 4.
number two
Number
for junior
two.
Jeff.
I
And then
don't
I'm
know,
gonna
man.
go. Yeah, the Leonard name. I don't know how to place that one. I'm gonna place him 4, and then I'd say Josh is 3, and then James Cook bottom of the barrel.
I agree with the James Cook.
James Cook bottom.
Yeah.
That you had who you putting in number 4 then, Shaggy? That's where your list has a gap.
Was it James Earl Jr.? Who's the middle one with the junior?
Yeah, Jeff Wilson. You don't have any ranking
Jeff
for.
Wilson. Yes, Jeff Wilson Jr. Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll go number 4 for him.
Yeah, Devon's 1.
Say it.
Jeff is 2. We got Josh 3rd, QB. I don't know, like it's a shit game, so he's probably running it too much. Leonard, and then James Cook at the bottom.
He's a Dolphin.
All right, so the
They're all
correct
Dolphins.
answer here.
They may be Dolphins or Buffaloes. Who knows?
No, Josh was the one literal Dolphin that they are required to have on the team.
I like it. The correct order here is Devon Achane 1.
Yeah.
Lil Biscuits got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was a competition.
Well, it is now. It wasn't until you guys split up.
Yeah, I like it. All right.
Number 2, Jeff Wilson Jr. Again, Lil Biscuits.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Told you.
He pulled this up.
Number 3, Josh Allen.
Because he
Again,
fucking
Lil Biscuits.
sucks.
And then number 4, Leonard Fournette. Lil Biscuits sweeps the table with James Cook at 5. Do I believe he didn't look it up? I don't know.
Dude, I swear to God, I didn't look that up.
He cheated.
That'd
Cheated.
be so lame. I went to the
I don't know.
bathroom. That's where I left too. If I
Cheated.
would've looked it up-
Clean sweep.
We need to recount.
You saw my whole thought process there. You know.
Yeah,
I'm
there
like,
wasn't much there.
Man's got 4 monitors. He could put those stats up on any one of those monitors at any time.
We're going to throw it back to Zesty in the interview room with Mike and Brennan and Dean talking about the Broncos 2023-2024 season. Thank you guys. We'll see you again in a sec.
Thank
Now joining us, giving us some takes on the Broncos season and just general overall outlook on 2023-2024 NFL football. We've got Mike/Mikey and Brennan, 2 guys from some of the smartest football minds that I know. So I don't know if that's saying much, but welcome, guys. Okay, Mike, take it away.
Thanks, Dan. You're too kind. Well, I have been a Broncos fan since I was itty bitty. I remember some of my first memories of the Broncos were running to my room crying over losses and watching old John Elway highlights. And so I've been suffering with them for many years, had some happy years there in between. But yeah, that's kind of my qualifications as a Broncos fan. Otherwise, I used to sling around the old pigskin in high school football. I was a quarterback. And think that I got just a little bit of knowledge from that. I wouldn't consider myself an expert by any means, but I think that I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than the average fan.
And Brennan.
My name's Brennan. I, like Michael, have been a Broncos fan for about as long as I can remember. I didn't really start remembering the Broncos until about 2005, 2006, whenever that playoff game against the Patriots, that crushing one with Jake Plummer. That is my first Broncos memory as well. Michael and I started off on a similar foot. But like exactly what he said, we've been suffering with him for a good while. We've definitely had some success and some high highs, but the lows have been pretty low as of late. I met both of these fellas in college. I also played a little bit of high school football. I was a lineman. So needless to say, I did not have the football acumen of Mike. But I don't know. I'm here to give you my opinions anyway. Thanks for having me.
And Brennan, I think, will make a couple reoccurring appearances here because, as anyone I know, he watches the most variety or follows at least the most variety of many sports across the globe. So stick around. At some point, we'll have Brennan's Weird Sports Minute to finish up the podcast. All right. Thank you, guys.
And now on to the interview.
Beep.
Going to
Great.
be very
I
homoerotic.
feel
Nice.
okay. I feel okay today. I felt like hot batter fried ass yesterday. I was like shivering in my living room, hoodie on, blanket. I was
Batter
not
fried
perfect.
ass.
Yeah,
That
it was
might
not.
be the intro to this episode. I do want you to know we're recording. So
Well, that's where we start.
hot batter fried ass.
Speaking of hot battered fried ass, how about them Broncos?
Good
Yeah.
intro.
Yeah. Played the Raiders today to finish off our very sad season, and it looked like everyone had just kind of quit today. All their playoff chances went out the window last week, so they just kind of phoned it in. It looked like weren't playing for much. It's kind of a bittersweet one, you know, because they get I think if they would have won, they would have had the number 15 pick. If they would have lost, they lost, so they're going to have the number 12 pick in the draft now. So if you look at the draft chart, the draft value chart, that comes out to about a mid third round pick. So some value in losing there. Also, I haven't seen anyone talk about it yet, but this puts them in third place in the AFC West, which is sad, but at the same time, that means they'll have a third place schedule next year. So it should be a little bit easier. So even though they looked like batter fried ass, it really wasn't. I wasn't too broken up about it.
It wasn't
As a
that big
whole.
of yeah, today's game meant absolutely nothing, right? That's kind of the takeaway that we can have from the Broncos Raiders situation is yeah, maybe something would come out of it, but it's such a far hypothetical that it doesn't even really matter, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
you said a mid third round pick, like who knows who gets picked in the mid of a third round? Like, no,
Yeah, that's just the difference between the picks. So like typically if someone were to trade up from number 15 to number 13, um, typically that would be about a third round pick's worth of value. So
Okay.
like a long time ago, I think it was like Bill Parcells or something came up with a chart that um that basically put a value on every single pick in the NFL draft, and then he used that when when they're putting together draft day trades, and that's different versions of that chart are still used today. And so I looked at one that's about what the value was. So I think one other thing that you can take away from this one, definitely need help at the second cornerback position. Foster Moreau was just getting absolutely
Baby and
cooked.
Mora.
Yeah, excuse me. Is Foster Moreau somebody? That sounds like a name for somebody.
Yeah,
I
he's a
believe
tight end.
Foster Moreau's yeah.
Yeah. Either way.
He was on the Raiders for a while, wasn't he? I think that was
Yeah,
the
he's
thing.
on the Saints, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah. See, it doesn't matter because he shouldn't be the number 2
He
cornerback
won't be the
anymore.
number 2 next year, no.
Yeah, he was getting absolutely cooked the whole game. Like I've seen a lot of people talk about maybe addressing cornerback in the draft. I think in an ideal world, I'd rather just have two of our third round. We've spent 2 third round picks on corners in the last 3 years or so with Riley Moss and Damari Mathis. And so hopefully we don't actually have to. Hopefully those guys can develop, and we don't actually have to use a third round or a first round pick to solve that position. But what do you think, Brennan? Do you have any more takeaways from the game today?
Yeah, I think this was a fitting end to this season. I don't know. It's been rough since Super Bowl 50 as a whole, but I don't know if there's been a season that had a more stark like down up down than this season did. It's about as bad as I could have hoped for this season to start, with a loss on an extra point to then that terrible Hail Mary debacle against the commies, and then the 70 burger that got put on us. And then all of a sudden the win streak, and we break the Chiefs streak, and all of these good things are happening. Turnovers are falling out of the sky. And then all of a sudden we were back and things are bad again.
Would you contribute that win streak specifically to turnover luck?
I think it's partially that. I do think there's something to like turnovers being an attitude and like whipping at the ball and doing things like that. I definitely think that if that's an emphasis, it can make a difference. But also I think that to a degree, like the ball has to bounce a certain way. A ball gets tipped at a line for a pick. Like I don't think that it's one or the other necessarily. I definitely think we got some bounces that were helpful. I mean, we got a 12-man on the field to beat the Bills that came down to rescue us when we had like 4 or 5 turnovers that night.
Something like that,
and
yeah.
definitely shouldn't have needed that. But then we also have these games against team. Now the Raiders, in retrospect, is maybe not as bad of a loss as we thought, but like the Commanders were 4-13. Like that's not a game you should lose. Or nor, with all due respect to Dan, the Patriots on Christmas Eve. That's not a game we should lose either.
I mean, yeah, you should have won that. I was even at that point definitely emotionally kind of like rooting for a Broncos win in a lot of ways, and that just became more evident today with the Commanders taking the second pick over us. For sure after that Saints win.
But
yeah,
I think as a
rough.
whole, I think this season is a net positive. I think that there are distinct improvements. We look like a real life football team. Last year, it was just like basic football competencies and things that need to be happening were not. And it didn't necessarily feel, there were definitely some moments that were a little hairy, but as a whole, it felt like we were, at least once we got our feet under us, a football team that had a little bit of identity and a little bit of togetherness. And there are some position groups I really like, but it feels pretty bad to be back on the quarterback carousel again after getting Russ and Broncos country last ride in this huge high. This is pretty bummer for it to not only end, but end this soon.
So to put it on the record, just because I feel like you can't just have any kind of just start a conversation without this background as a Broncos fan. What is your guys' takeaway on the Russell Wilson experience? Like,
we rode a little bit too close to the sun. I think I obviously, like most of the Broncos country, I was really excited with the Russ trade. But I think we never really created an offense that really suited his skill set or his diminished skill set, I would say. He really didn't have the mobility that made him great at one point, and then I didn't think it helped that we put him in trying to make him run Sean Payton's offense, which is all about quick game, stuff over the middle, short to intermediate passes, which really just has never been his strength. It was fun while it lasted, but just it really is just time to move on. We can't handle that contract anymore for mediocre quarterback play. So
I feel like he kind of got the short end of the stick throughout the whole like he comes in and getting Nathaniel Hackett as his OC, which is really, for one, we've learned that this man is horrible, but for two, he was designed for Aaron Rodgers. And then immediately followed by it seemed pretty clear that Sean Payton didn't want him. I mean, as a whole, whether it was the coaching idea or whether it's the offense, it seemed like, you said it was never really suited to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now there's all this stuff with his contract that has come out, and it like the Broncos are telling him you have to restructure your contract or you'll be sitting, which is kind of fishy.
I for sure agree with that. I don't know if it was ever a good fit, and I do wish that it. And I don't, obviously, we don't really know how it was handled and how, like, there are different angles of the stories, but also Sean Payton and the Broncos have not really ever come out and denied that or tried to change the narrative. They're kind of just like let it lie, which doesn't really strike me as a team who didn't do that. Obviously, we don't know, but just based on the context clues here, feels like Russ probably did get a bit of a raw deal. But I also think from a contract perspective and all of these things, that moving on now is the correct move. Even if Russ did kind of come out behind the 8-ball, I do think this is the best move for the Broncos.
Did you have a favorite stupid storyline from the Broncos year? Anything was there something that you read and that was just the silliest thing for a Broncos fan to look at this year?
This one's not really a Broncos story, but it was pretty recent. I remember it. So the Dolphins played the Ravens in Week 17 and got smoked. A feeling we can relate to, getting smoked like that. And then there were the Dolphins. Like, I don't know if it was a beat writer or a local broadcaster, but like someone who covers the Dolphins specifically was coming out and like complaining about the touchdown that the Ravens scored down 56-13 with, for the record, Tyler Huntley in the game. And then like looking back, like flashback to Week 3, and they were running pitches with the first team and to put up the 70 piece. So And I had no problem with that, but it's just something I observed.
At that point, I was rooting for Mike McDaniel to kick that last field goal to try and break the record.
Yeah, because the record is 72, correct?
Yeah.
God, they
so-
should have. Hey, we still have the most Super Bowl losses too, or did someone else take that?
No, I think that's still us.
That's hell yeah.
All the fun records. Fun stories this year. Maybe just kind of watching the fans melt down, the Broncos fans melt down for various reasons at various parts of the season. And I'm definitely guilty of this. And just like the roller coaster ride that was Vance Joseph's job status, like going into the season, everybody was really upset that we had Vance Joseph, and then thought that he was going to get fired after about week 3, like you were saying with the Dolphins game, and then getting shot right back up to superstardom in about 2 weeks. Everyone was loving him again. Just kind of, we're just so fickle. We don't know anything, and probably the least patient franchise that I've ever, or the least patient fan base that I've ever seen as far as like coaching hires and quarterbacks go. It'd be hard to be a coach or a player here for sure.
I get that. That's very fitting. It seems like it's been a rough. I mean, this year specifically, in terms of being, it seemed like kind of a broken system all around.
Yeah, I think when I think back on the season though, like I think one of the goals going in, I remember thinking about this in like August. Like if we can be playing meaningful games in December, then it's at least a better season than we've been having, because for the last 6 years or whatever, we've been eliminated by before Thanksgiving, where we're effectively out of it. And so we got that wish. Like even last week, we still had kind of a outside chance at the playoffs. And so, yeah, kind of at least nice to be rooting for some wins down the stretch, if nothing else. So I think we are on the right track. Like they say, kind of the spectrum of a rebuild is, it starts lose big, then lose small, then win big, and we're kind of floating that line between losing small and winning small for the most part. So I think we're trending in the right direction.
Hopes up then. Okay. I'll follow, kind of finish up here with just one more question for both of you. I would like a Super Bowl prediction.
Ooh, okay. And just to be clear, all the teams that are in are in. It's just we're just waiting for seeding for Bills Dolphins right now.
I think that's pretty much it. If they flip flop between the 2 seed and the 6 seed, I think.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay. Michael, do you have yours?
Yeah, I think San Francisco's as a tank here. So wow, there's really a San Francisco, Dallas, and Detroit are all 12-5. I did not realize that. I thought San Francisco was a little bit farther ahead there.
They had those injury weeks though, which
Yeah,
is
they
kind of
did.
a.
Yeah, I'm gonna go San Francisco wins the Super Bowl over Cleveland. Cleveland Browns.
Joe Flacco elite.
Joe Flacco.
Defenses win playoffs.
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
Joe Flacco went on this crazy run when he won that Super Bowl for Baltimore. It was like 9 touchdowns, 0 picks. It was just like a team of destiny kind of thing with Ray Lewis and stuff. And I'm kind of sensing the same, like he's got a little bit of the dragon back in him. And so
that was Raheem Moore, right?
That was Raheem Moore, and I was hoping we could get through a whole 10 minutes segment.
For those of you who don't have that context, the Broncos were, I believe, the first victim of that and lost in overtime.
Second victim, yeah, it was in the divisional round.
It was in the divisional, I can remember. And yeah, Raheem Moore was the safety who like fell backwards on himself, trying to cover Jacoby Jones, I think it was, for a deep ball to crush our dreams.
And my dreams are still crushed because I think we go and win that Super Bowl if it wasn't for that play. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna take San Francisco over Cleveland 26-20.
I guess the only
I-
big upset in that bracket there is probably Cleveland over Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I get it. It makes complete sense. So as long as you think Cleveland over Baltimore makes a lot of sense, which it certainly could. That seems realistic.
It'll be in Baltimore. I mean, Cleveland's built like a team to win on the road, right? With the great defense and the running game, and
Yeah.
So I'm liking that.
Brennan?
I am going to take the Ravens in the AFC. For kind of a similar reasons. I think if there was ever a team that's built to win in cold weather, in tight games, I also think that the Ravens are well suited for that.
I'm
And
hoping
so
for that championship game, Cleveland versus Baltimore. That'd be fun.
I think it would be really fun.
I don't think Cleveland versus Baltimore could be the championship game, aren't they both? Wouldn't that be in the divisional?
I haven't looked.
I
At
think
don't
that'd
know
be divisional no matter what.
And then in the NFC, I'm going to take an upset because why not? We're on the air. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm going to have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl over the Cowboys.
That'd be fun.
Seems fitting. It's not something that's like super.
No.
It's definitely not
Like,
unrealistic from what I was.
They got
I've been just
smoked,
thinking about that
but
today.
that was like week 4 or 5, and Dak's playing good ball. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way that the 49ers, if it comes down to 49ers Cowboys again, I don't think there's any way that we have an exact repeat of the last time that happened. That was disgusting. That was 56-14 or something.
Yeah, and we all went to our good friend's Ben's house to one of the 2 futures I have that are alive, so I will be cheering for the Cowboys.
Okay, so Brennan roots for the Cowboys. Everyone else roots for the Ravens, kind of like knock on
also,
wood.
My other future is the Ravens, so I'm manifesting.
It's a win-win.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you're manifesting the win-win.
I don't root for teams with trash quarterbacks like the Ravens.
Oh, okay.
Michael, notorious hater.
I notoriously in the 2018 draft, I had some pretty loud negative feelings towards Lamar Jackson. And
we were coming off, I think, a Case Keenum year, and he had Lamar under do not draft, which is crazy town. I didn't like have him. Don't get me wrong, I didn't like have him number 1 or anything, but I was like, oh, maybe if we trade back, Lamar would be interesting. I did not think he would be this necessarily, but I was in.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody saw it coming, then he wouldn't have been the 32nd pick or whatever he was.
No.
But
he would have 31 mistakes in front of him. Shout out Josh Rosen.
I think in the playoffs, I'm going to be kind of rooting for the Texans and Cowboys or Lions in the NFC.
I really do want to root for the Lions. I want to root for the Lions before the Cowboys. I want to root for the Cowboys just to see my friends compete, but the Lions are definitely.
If it's anything other than the 2 teams I mentioned, I think I want the Browns Lions for sure.
I'd prefer Texans Lions because I don't want the Browns to do well just because I feel like it would almost be like if they won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco or they had success with Joe Flacco, it's almost like they're getting off the hook for their terrible decision they made with Deshaun Watson. And so I don't love that. I'd love karma to kill him. But
counterpoint, Deshaun Watson would be pissed if he had basically nothing to do with their championship run.
Yeah, he'd just be so pissed, wiping away his tears with $100 bills.
$1,000 bills. You'd have them reprinted. It's not $100 bills is nothing on what $230 million. That's pennies.
Yeah, good point. So,
yeah, Broncos.
Yeah,
see you again next year.
Alrighty, welcome to another Broncos fan / guest on the pod today, Mr. Dean. Dean was originally my RA back in college, and then later this year he'll be officiating my wedding. So if that sums up our relationship enough. And then Dean is a diehard Broncos fan since pretty much his whole life. Dean, what's your summary of yourself?
Well, I think that the words that you said earlier about summing up our relationship is a good place to start. But also, I think that you put the number on how many times I should have written you up when you were my resident and the amount of times I did write you up. And I think that's a better play of our relationship.
I'd say the number I probably should have gotten written up was at least probably 6 or so of times I got caught. At least, I mean, I don't know if there are other times.
I was gonna say 3 or 4, which also I think is an indication of how good I was at that job. But
Yeah,
got paid.
so no write-ups. I can't complain. Dean's a sweetie.
No write-ups, good friendship, and yes, a very diehard Broncos fan, with the exception of what few people know, is about a year when I was in the first grade where I was a Raiders fan.
That's a choice.
Yep. My
That's a big
teacher was a
swing
Raiders
from
fan.
first to second grade.
Yep. My teacher was a Raiders fan. Everyone around me was a Broncos fan. The Raiders were in the Super Bowl. I was a Raiders fan. Maybe it was for like 3 weeks, but I remember being a Raiders fan.
Okay. Well, two of the earlier Broncos fans, Brennan and Mike, that I had on the podcast, opened up their interview by describing this season as hot, battered, fried ass.
Okay.
So my question for you is, if the Broncos were a dish served at a restaurant, what would it be called, and what would the ingredients be?
Interesting. I'm gonna say as a dish. I have a different analogy for it, but as a dish, I think that it would be a undercooked burger that has almost all the right toppings that you asked for. It's like if you'd have gone to like Five Guys or like make your own burger place, and you tried to get the burger that you wanted, right? Like you spent the time and the money and the patience to make your own burger, and then it comes back and you're like, wow, that's a little cold, but like not terrible. And then you're like, oh, I asked for white onion, but I got red onion. Okay. And then you get a little bit farther and you're like, these aren't pickles, these are cucumbers, and this isn't ketchup, this is goat's blood. And it just like kind of gets a little bit worse. Like it's still a burger. I still like it. I'm still going to eat it because I have no respect for myself. But yeah, I think that's the ingredient list. Is it's just a little bit off of what you would have hoped. And a name for the burger. That's a good one.
The Danger Witch.
I'm actually just gonna call it the burger, but instead of a U, it's 2 O's. So it's booger type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, booger, if you will.
Okay. I mean, I think that is a fair summation, but there were a couple highlights this year, right? Like the breaking of the Chiefs streak, right? Was that one of the ingredients they got right? Is that kind of a good analogy?
Absolutely. That was the like premier brioche bun where you saw it and you look at it and you take it. But yes, absolutely that was the highlight of the year. We had a couple of really awesome games in that 5-0 or 5-1 stretch that ended with really great plays and really fun touchdowns and just good football in general. But yeah, other than that, that was like we lost to the Raiders twice again, which I think about the Raiders for the last 4 years as this like huge poverty franchise, and yet we still continue to get beat by them consistently.
Don't forget you also lost to the New England Patriots.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder. You have 4 wins this year, and we're somehow one of them.
Yeah, that also very much ruined our draft pick a bit. So
and our collective Christmases.
Yeah, it was a ruined Christmas for everybody.
Yes. So it could have been better. It started off really tough. A couple of games that we should have won, that if we'd have won 2 of those, which we should have, and early, and then that New England game, which we also should have won at home, we're talking Yoffs right now. But instead, we're talking off season.
We're talking booger
burger. The other thing though is like even the game last night, it was kind of a win-win. Like if we win, cool. That's the first time we have a winning season since 2016. We won the Super Bowl. We went 9-7, and then we've had a losing season ever since then. So we could have lost that streak, which would have been great. But because we lost, we flopped picks with 14 and 12 with the Raiders. So whoever lost it was going to be 12, and whoever won was going to be the 14th pick. And they're probably in the quarterback looks about also. So that actually could come into play.
That kind of ties into the next question I had here is what are you hoping for in the draft? And my thought is almost, will there be enough quarterbacks for what the Broncos want? It seems like everyone's quarterback needy this year. So by the time you get to at 12th now, do you think you're going to get kind of what you want in a quarterback, or what's your outlook on the draft? What do you want to see?
I'm going to throw it that I don't think we're going to get what we want out of a quarterback, but we will end up with a different quarterback than we have currently. I would love, like realistically, I would love Michael Penix Jr. I would love, actually, he's my only love. There are two other guys that are just not going to be there. They're going to be long gone before 12. I would be fine with Bo Nix. I don't really want him at 12. I would be sort of fine with JJ McCarthy. I really don't want him at 12. If the main three guys are gone, I think that the play is that we're going to get like a vet minimum kind of guy, and we're going to have like a Ryan Tannehill kind of character, just because we can't. The Broncos have done this really fun thing where they said, hey, you know how the best quarterback we've ever drafted is Jay Cutler? Yeah, that worked once. We don't know how to draft a quarterback. We don't know how to develop a quarterback. We don't know how to do any of this. So we just go out in free agency. But now we're hamstrung with Russ's contract that we can't do that. So in the draft, I would love to do, if we move up for a quarterback, I'm fine with that. If we get who we want at 12, I'm also fine with that. If not, I think another corner would do us well. If we got a really good offensive weapon in like wide receiver, or maybe if we went like O-line, can't hurt. There are enough positions and there are enough guys that if everybody else goes quarterback, we'll get maybe the top one or two position guy off the board. Like we'll maybe get a top 2 corner, a top 2 offensive lineman, a top 2 wide receiver. Like it could happen that way, but lots of things could happen. I would love for us to move up though. 12 is kind of a purgatory spot.
So looping it kind of back into what you said at the front end of that answer, you said like one of the top 3 guys or so there, and then you said Penix. Is Penix number 3 on your QB draft board? Is that what were your top 3 or what were your top 5 on there?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think that Caleb Williams, Drake May are kind of the top 2 guys regardless, right? Like pick your poison either side of that. But those are kind of what you're looking for. As far as other guys, I think that Penix is number 3. I know a lot of people might not love that, and that's fine. Some people really like Bo Nix, and I'm not crazy about the Bo Nix situation. Man, who else is even on there right now?
I feel like you're missing someone pretty notable, at least in this college season.
Oh yeah, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care for the Jaden Daniels experience, truthfully. And part of it depends too on Sean Payton, because I don't know the guy personally, but it seems like he runs a pretty specific offense with tons and tons of plays. So, like Bo Nix, it feels like he's been there for a long time and they kind of just do what they want. And I think that they make a lot of like sideline calls. He's not making calls on the field. So he's probably not the guy for that. I've been kind of watching Penix tonight, and they're not like stopping the play all the time to look over to the sideline. So that makes me feel better. I can probably tell you I've not seen a single snap of Jaden Daniels.
That's fair. I don't think I've also actually seen a single snap, and considering I think he's projected to go to the Patriots right now, that's not the best for myself.
Ouch. Yeah, I have some Patriots questions for you after this, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So there will be others that will pick quarterbacks, and that will be fine for them, and I don't want to be them.
All right. So before we move on to the final kind of topic here, I'd like to give you an extra 30 seconds to get anything Broncos off your chest, or anything more you wanted to add to that whole Broncos conversation.
The Broncos season has been like a date that you had really high expectations for, with a girl that you really liked, and it went terribly. It felt like we finally got the girl to go on a date with us, and then she showed up 5 weeks late, and then you started to like make conversation, things started going well, you started making out, things went really well, and then all of a sudden it's like you farted, and then she farted, and then you just like kept making out but with the smell of fart in the car. That's kind of what this year felt like for the Broncos.
I'm not that opposed to fart smell while making out.
If I had a nickel, Daniel, if I had a nickel, I've had 8 years of it at this point. I'm plenty good with it. It feels good that we're not even debating if Sean Payton's going to be around. I feel fine about our offensive coordinators. I don't think they're getting fired. I don't think they're getting poached. I want so desperately for Justin Simmons to be a Pro Bowler and to be play in a playoff game finally. He's one of my favorite players in the league. He is my favorite Bronco currently. I want that so badly for number 31.
That's fair. I know your take on. So you have the Simmons jersey, don't you? Or did you were always thinking about getting one? You do have
Nope.
one, right?
I got a Simmons jersey when I worked in Denver. He was the nicest guy and just an incredible human being. And I told myself in this group that if and when he signed a long-term contract with Denver, that I'd get a jersey, and he did. And 2 weeks later, my wonderful wife came home with the jersey, and I was so happy.
Shout out Justin Simmons for when he inevitably listens to this.
Shout out Justin Simmons. I love you, Jay Sims.
The final bit of NFL speak I've got for you. I would like your Super Bowl prediction.
Boy, I
For
don't think
reference,
that's
Mike even gave a score, so like you can go real specific here.
Who did Mike say for his quarterbacks? Did you ask them that question?
No, I did a whole different collection of questions for this round just to not double up on things.
That's fair. Michael Poland, notable, really good quarterback guy and really bad evaluator of quarterbacks. Love you, Mike. I think that I'm going to get weird. I want to get weird. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl. Cowboys win it in a 28-20 fashion.
Okay, that's I think I had one of Mike's big takes was that he thinks the Browns are at least going to go way further than we thought. I think he put them in the Super Bowl.
I actually think they
it'd be
might.
pretty, like,
I actually
comical.
think they may lose this week, but that's okay.
I
Houston.
don't know. Maybe the Flacco magic runs out. Is that almost a thought? Now's the time.
Yeah, it finally catches up. You get a weird situation or setting or injury or like something weird happens, or CJ Stroud throws for a bajillion yards, and that's just kind of how it goes.
That was almost just more along the path of Texans. They're a young team, especially Stroud. They'll go to their wild card game. It's a little overwhelming. Playoff football is a little different. It doesn't work out, but I guess that is also just as valid. That while you have, how old is Joe Flacco? 48, going against Stroud is 22. That might be one of the largest quarterback age disparities ever, other than anything with Tom Brady.
That's actually a really good point. I would love to know the biggest disparity in that. Also, you got to think about, for the Cowboys on the other side of it, where they're playing the Packers, which is kind of the NFC boogeyman for them. But are the Packers the boogeyman, or is Aaron Rodgers the boogeyman? Because one of those is gone.
It's got to be Aaron Rodgers, right? I don't know how the Packers squeaked into the playoffs here. Really, is what I've taken away from the season. I did not watch a ton of Packers football, but it definitely there was a reason I didn't watch a ton of Packers football. I didn't really think we'd be here.
Yeah, didn't think we were have to worry about it, but they snuck in.
All right, Dean. Unless you have questions for myself.
My main questions are: give me your best analogy to describe the New England Patriots season.
My best analogy of any type of analogy.
Any analogy. Open to interpretation.
So, like, when you put something wet in a container on top of your fridge and then it leaks and it goes over all of the rest of the fridge everywhere and it's just a mess. And then not only was there did it ruin everything, but you didn't have anything good in the fridge to begin with. So you're looking at your struggle meals and you're like, I've ruined all my struggle meals. There wasn't even going into the season, there wasn't really a bright spot to super look for. There was maybe Mac is going to find his own, but we even kind of saw that at the end of last season.
Mm-hmm.
It was I don't know, leaky fridge, depression naps, rough season, just overall depressing. One of the 2023 is a year that I will quickly forget in my entirety of sports fandoms, whether it was the New England Patriots or the St. Louis Cardinals. Both are in line for a top draft pick.
See, I think that the Patriots kind of did. I think the food analogy also, but I think of it as like a what's your favorite sauce or condiment or topping?
Your favorite sauce or condiment or topping? I'm a big okay. So for dipping, it is like a zesty mayo. That's just we all know where that was coming from.
Indeed.
I'm a big soy sauce guy as a whole. I love soy sauce.
So I like to think of it as if you were making a sandwich at home and you're like, yep, I'm doing this the same way. Like I'm getting my meat and my cheese and my veggies and my bread and my zesty mayo. And then you went to go find out that actually your meat is expired and you bought it too early. And the lettuce and tomato you were going to put on top are old and moldy and your bread's not very good. And then your favorite can always put your clock to enjoying that zesty mayo is just a little bit rancid. That's the sandwich you just ate for the last 4 wins and 13 losses or however many it is, 12 losses, whatever, 13, 17.
Is Bill Belichick my zesty mayo?
Well done. Yes, he is.
I figured out the analogy. I put the puzzle together.
I laid it on pretty thick, I thought.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, I guess we're through Black Monday now and nothing has been officially completely announced.
Right.
So, I have some outlook of hope that he stays around as coach, and it sounds like he might be willing to give up the GM job. I don't think he's going to do that. I think now it's more of a trade situation, but I think the thing that's been talked up on PMT all year is that he might actually end up on the Commanders.
Right.
It seems super realistic now.
Yeah,
I don't know what we get for that. I mean, Sean Payton, what was the Sean Payton deal?
I don't actually know.
It was several firsts, I think, wasn't it?
The New Orleans receives the number 29 overall pick in the first round. So that was last year.
Okay.
The Broncos' second round pick. So that's why we don't have a second round pick this year. So we have a first round and a third round, but we don't have a second because that's what we gave to the Saints.
Okay. So the number 29 last year and the second round this year. That's not the worst thing.
No, I think that one was
Taker.
worth it. I still feel good
Yeah,
about that.
we'll see what trade could be worked out. I mean, I guess what Kraft is calling around and be like, hey guys, what do you want for Billy over here? What do you want for Belichick? And we'll do it. It's got to be almost a similar kind of trade, right? That at least in a way that Sean Payton went out a little higher with the Saints than Bill's going out with the Patriots. I'd think a first and a second, and maybe something else to compensate would be unrealistic.
Yeah, but it's got to be the perfect spot for it, because if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm not going to a place that needs a coach for a reason and also now doesn't have a first and a second, right?
Yeah.
Like if you've got a bad roster and you don't have a pick until the third round, like that's a disaster.
How funny would it be if Bill sat out?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like he could just like they could call it quits and just they could do that. They probably won't, or they're going to ask another team for like something really. I don't know. That's a really tough spot to be, and that's why you don't see coaches get traded that often. You know. But what do you want to do with the third pick?
The third pick, I would. Well, okay. It seems like Caleb Williams, number 1, is pretty unanimous. Drake May, 2, seems to be almost unanimous as well. I've seen Jaden Daniels thrown out there a lot, and some people are pretty high on him. And like I said, I have not watched a single snap of his of football with Jaden Daniels at QB, or at least nothing that's not just a highlight. We've got to get a QB though. That whatever QB it is, whatever the evaluator that determines that for the Patriots during draft time, whoever that is, I hope they're good at what they do. I hope there's some kind of QB whisperer. I don't know who they call in, but yeah, that's got to be the pick.
So here's my scenario for you. Take it or leave it. What about, because the team in Virginia / Washington, D.C., whatever they're going to be called next year, has the number 2 pick, correct?
Yes.
If you traded Bill Belichick for the number 2 pick, just straight up, maybe some money's involved, maybe some like, hey, yeah, I'm Kraft, like you send me to Florida, some things happen, we come back. If you get the number 2 pick and the number 3 pick, what do you do with 2 and 3? Kind of a Texan situation.
That seems like that'd be Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake May. I would think that seems like you got to do that. If you get the opportunity to have a star wide receiver who's going to go top 5 and the pick of your quarterbacks other than Caleb Williams, a Drake May, and that'll work great. I'd love it. That sounds like a dream scenario. Thank you, Dean, for bringing up my hopes like that.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to be in the scouting department for the Patriots, so I'll take one for the team just to make my friend happy.
You'll bring out Mr. Kraft and say, "Hey, I've got an idea."
Yes. Also, Dan, as cat owners, you and I'd like to share with you that Mr. Brennan Bates came in a couple minutes ago to give my lovely cat a raspberry, and I looked back over and he has not eaten it, but he has spread it all over the floor. So now we have raspberry on our carpet, and I have 2 very cute pictures that I will send you, but I think that's the perfect way to end this podcast segment.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Dean. Thanks for discussing Broncos and Patriots and football as a whole. We can get back to this Michigan-Washington game now.
Excellent. All right. Everyone say it with me. Go Broncos.
Yeah. Sure. Bringing it back to us in the boardroom, we've got more with Lil Biscuits, Shaggy and David. Lil Biscuits, what's it like being a douchebag tech bro?
Oh, it's great. There's yeah. Oh my gosh, where do I start? The monitors, the sweatpants. I'm wearing a quarter zip. I have 30 of these. Not 30. I have 7 or 8 quarter zips.
Close enough to 30.
It's yeah, you know.
with
Living in Seattle, there's homeless people in my outside my window that throw rocks on the interstate, and then I go down to an office for Amazon and do my stuff. To be a tech bro. So I didn't think I'd end up here, but I can't say it's a bad thing.
What's like one of your craziest, and I'll open this one up to everybody. What are some of your craziest experiences in the city as you're in Seattle working for Amazon? And I know we have David here in Denver. So what's a highlight or a low light, I guess, whichever one is better fitting.
Yeah, so some dude that was homeless came up to me and just walking on the sidewalk, and he just gets right in my face as he's walking by. He's like, "'Cause you don't have the fucking balls to tell me that." Just out of nowhere. I didn't even know who the hell this dude was, and he spit right into my mouth as I was walking. So I had a little bit of homeless spittle, and I was just taken aback and had no idea what to do there.
Yeah, what does spit taste like?
Yeah, was it like a surprise for Gusher?
Well, it was kind of thick too, so methinks someone was having a bit of a cold or something. So.
Phlegmy?
How you feeling?
Yeah, phlegmy.
How long ago was this?
This was probably like a year ago.
He's all right. He's got hepatitis now, but
yeah, I would have gotten over whatever it was.
Isn't that a blood disease?
Yeah. There's some lingering after effects from the from the spit.
But yeah, working with the homeless people, they're your fellow neighborhood people. It's especially in cities like Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, Zesta, like it's a wild way to live. They just set up a new camp for one of the areas I run by. They call it the compound. They've got a big piece of plywood that they spray painted that onto, and they're set up on a hill. It's funny because it rains a lot in Seattle, and as the rain's coming down this hill, it fills up their tents where they leveled out the area, and so they've got some like water channels to go around their tents. Except for one of these new tents, the guy came in and he directed the water right into the center of his tent, so he's got a huge puddle there.
Maybe Seattle on a rainy day, make a hot tub, build a fire, and a drum in the middle of that.
Yeah, a fire from your little meth torch setup. There's yeah.
You put in this in our meeting notes here as a topic to discuss. We did craziest experiences in the city, which directly led right into homeless persons. The note here says antagonize them with drones.
Yeah, that's something that you can do. There's an Instagram channel dedicated to it. The law is such a blurry thing. Like,
exactly.
When you're dealing with these types of situations, it's more of a suggestion. If you're gonna throw punches, if you're gonna spy on them, like they're not supposed to be there anyways. They have no rights.
Yeah, God, what are they gonna do? Run back home?
Yeah. What are they gonna do? Be like, this guy is spying on me with a drone? Like, you're in a public park.
If the drone's under a certain weight limit, it's like legally a toy too.
Yeah. You don't even need a license for that.
Yeah.
It's not something I personally do, but I have seen videos where you'll get the homeless people throwing sticks up at the drones, and they get really upset, because the drone's just hovering there. It sounds like a bee's nest in the place that they sleep and live. Just recording them, and they're easy to trigger too because of all of the cold nights and meth and whatnot, other things. I don't even know what the street drugs are now. I know it's a lot of veterinary opioids that make your skin fall off. That was the new one going through Seattle. Yeah, it's a good time. But yeah, you can antagonize them with drones.
So, Biscuits, has there been an uptick in burglaries of vet clinics around that area, or
vet clinics? The place I get my medications from, my pharmacy, they closed down because
medications.
Yeah, the veterinary where I get my prescriptions filled. They closed down because of all the break-ins that they had. It's like, people love their prescriptions. And so they'll smash up windows and steal a bunch of coffee and
They should start putting pharmacies inside houses.
do it online. Give me my Amazon
Can't
packages.
go there if you're homeless.
Reopen the Silk Road.
Oh my god. More okay. We've devolved back to being a douchebag tech bro.
Stick to that.
Are you an owner of a MetaQuest?
I am. I just got one for Christmas. It is crazy. I play this game Walking Dead where I can grab a bottle, shatter it on a nearby truck or on the floor or on my own sword if I want to, and then I grab a zombie by the head and just shove it through their head. It is next level immersive. Yeah, I do have one.
Have you broken anything in your apartment yet?
No, I have not. I've gotten really close. Sometimes I play this ping pong game where there'll be a virtual ping pong table in front of you. I'll set down my controllers on the ping pong table, and then I'll just hear them fall to the fucking ground because there's no actual table there. So,
all right, Shaggy, you are a VR guy as well. What is your experience? Is it worth it?
I would love to say yes. Personally, I've had the Quest 2, and then I had the one before that, the Rift S. Yeah, it's fun, but it's it gets kind of repetitive after a while, and some days you just don't really feel like moving your arms that much.
How much porn you guys watch on these things? Don't lie.
I'm calculating. I don't know. Have you tried it? With the
augmented reality? I have not tried that.
That'd be kind of nuts. They're probably gonna get something out of it.
It'd be very nuts, I'm sure. There'd be lots of nuts.
There's lots of nuts. You could finally have the sex in your face that you want.
That's what I need.
Yeah, multiple. That's why you got so many cameras on there. All the
yeah. So you can see yourself jacking off and record it. I hope.
Yeah.
When I think about the porn, all I think about is there are engineers at Facebook that are reviewing this data to help train their model. And I wonder how many videos they get of just some guy from 20 angles just jacking off. It's not recognizing the floor because it keeps focusing on him fucking jacking off.
My thought though is what's one more dick in a sea of dicks?
Maybe they're used to it. Yeah, maybe that's just part of the job,
They're just desensitized to looking at data points
we
of
just
penises.
Review the data. It's another jack off market. They have their own category in the issue handling that is resolve issue. Why video was a man jacking off you? Known problem. They know that whenever
he was shaking the MetaQuest handles, it was because he was okay.
Turbulence caused by man jacking off. That's a column at Meta for their operations. I know it.
Is douchebag tech bro? Is that a MetaQuest requirement? Because I feel like you two are really the only two I know that have VR. I guess we have one other friend, but I guess you Biscuits are very much a douchebag tech bro, and then Shaggy, you're just a tech bro that is also a douchebag. So
I mean, I like the separation. I feel a little better.
I wanted one because I work with this guy who has one that's actually, I know a handful of people who have bought it for multiple reasons, some specifically for the porn.
That's so
and they're $4,000. That's you gotta have a good GPU, you gotta have the up-to-date stuff.
The really crazy ones are super expensive. I think the new lightest ones that came out are something about $1,000, but you can still pair them with the Index controllers from Valve, and then it still goes off of your computer. So you have $1,000 in these crazy looking goggles that are really light, but they're still corded and they're still running off of your PC. So if you just dropped $1,000, let's hope you already dropped multiple thousands of dollars in the last few years on your rig.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Quest 2 is cool though. I have the 2, which is I think the pass through is only black and white compared to yours, which I I think is like full color. Like you can see things as if they're like there. But I use it pretty frequently when I first got it. I played the game you're playing now, The Walking Dead. Played quite a few games on there. Besides that, the only thing I really used it for was to watch like big screen VR, which people you can just stream your desktop to, and like Shiloh would join me on that. We would just watch movies and stuff on that because you're just like floating in space.
That's kind of wholesome. Hang out with your bros, hang out with
Yeah,
buds, and
it's
watch movies.
it's a little bit more like you're kind of
movies.
actually versus like say like Discord. You know, like I can see you guys, but you know that spatial awareness of the person's like right there. You
I
know,
get you.
but yeah. Besides that, I think it's sat. You can see it back there. It sat on my shelf for probably 6 months before I picked it up again. So it's like it's a lot of money. No, I guess for the Quest 2, comparatively not that much, but it's a lot of money that for something that I don't use very frequently, except for like kind of select occasions.
Definitely a novel thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I could see how it could be for a workspace though. Like I've met a couple people that like they work from home. There was one guy that I walked in, and he had like a desk on his lap with his laptop, and he had the Quest 3 on, and he's like, you know, moving stuff around his hands, sipping his coffee, working on his little fucking thing. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He looked weird, but I'm sure he was having a great time. You know, like
Wait, that's like Jarvis. You're like having a little
yeah.
Jarvis.
Yeah, exactly. I could see how that would be super beneficial if you used it for work, but then you couldn't use it for fun. You know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah, then you'd be like, this is work. You feel like every time you put on that headset, like I'm working now. This is
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you get the sweats on your eyes.
yeah.
The VR
I
ring.
guess we've found the best thing to do with VR is to hang out with your bros, which
Honestly,
brings
yeah.
me to our next topic. Let's say you and a bunch of bros are hanging out in Brooklyn, and you're like, let's dig a hole.
Let's dig a hole.
I'm real excited about the tunnels in Brooklyn conversation here.
Yeah.
The Jewish synagogue tunnels.
dude, I don't know much about Jewish people other than they run Hollywood.
Is that
And
what they
apparently
say?
it's the basements of Brooklyn.
The basements.
Yeah. The
Ovens.
tweets are what got me though.
Right?
It's like months before. Be like, the Jews are in the basement.
Someone's speaking Yiddish.
Swear to God, they're in the basement. Not trying to be racist.
It's like we don't have a basement.
Fucking crazy, man.
They're in the walls. What are you hiding in your floorboards?
Oh my god. Background here. Let me solo some summary. For those who haven't seen the news or heard some TikToks going around, there are tunnels in Brooklyn. So a historic Brooklyn synagogue
Interesting.
was trashed this week during an unusual community dispute that began with the discovery of a secret underground tunnel and ended in a brawl between the worshippers and police. The conflict erupted in Crown Heights in Brooklyn. So supporters of there's a group there that are young guys, I guess 19 to 22, that decided we have this building and we also own this other building just down the road, and they lock the synagogue at night, and I want to be able to go to my house of worship. My 19 to 22-year-old self and my buddies deserve to be in this building whenever we want. I have another take on it. It's that there, I think, were some women's bathhouses in between the two buildings that they dug a tunnel to.
What's
Women's
a women's
bathhouse?
bathhouse?
Yeah. What
that
year
like-
is this? 1800s?
Oh, I need to go to the building to go shower today
Ah, yes, the bathhouse.
with all of the other women.
That's what I call the YMCA.
These guys they dug a tunnel underneath this like bathhouse / apartment building / like it's a normal like ass building that has a couple shops in it. It has some people that live on upper levels as people that live on the first level, and they dug underneath this building to create a secret pathway into the synagogue. Like 9 people got arrested. Again, they were all 19 to 22. They got criminal mischief, reckless endangerment, obstructing government administration. And so you look at the videos of these tunnels, and it's like maybe the size of if you were crawling through like a minivan.
Not like a big hole, but like a good size hole.
Not comfortable,
Yeah,
but
like
very
you're not
impressive.
standing. Where did the dirt go?
Just put it in trash bags, man. Give it to the trash people.
They eat it
I'm not
in
that
New York.
surprised, though.
I mean, they
Yeah,
probably
right?
filled some dumpsters, though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Trash
not that
guys knew for
surprised.
months.
I feel like between like the ages of 19 and 22 is the best time to get together with all of your bros and dig a hole.
How
And
you
then you just
do
get a little carried away and you're like, well, I could make a tunnel.
Yeah.
And then you've worked so many hours on this thing that you have to, like, the
You
police
have to
come
make
and they
it
say they're
cool.
going to put concrete in it. No.
What?
You guys
dug
ever
this
been
for the
digging
past
with the
2
bros?
years. Yeah, I have. We dug a
Yeah.
hot tub in my friend's backyard's house.
It's kind of fun, man. Like,
Backyard of his house. I don't fucking.
yeah,
It
I don't know.
was-
I remember as
Yeah.
kids digging with friends. Like that was just what we did for fun. You know, just fucking dig a hole. We had a dirt mound on the side of the house. We made like a hole, like fucking. We made like a 4-foot deep hole on the side of the house, and then like a little trail system, and filled it with water. So just mudslided our backyard.
You've already started it. This is the
Dude.
same hole.
The children yearn for the mines.
That's
That's
yeah,
a known thing. Yeah.
yeah. It
They-
scratches my child labor itch.
Yeah. They want to dig holes, man. Let them.
The
The fact that
My-
the police were going to seal it up, though, that's like,
Such a bummer.
yeah. I'd be like, dude, what? We bonded over this. It's safe. Why do you need us to fill it up with concrete? Like,
Was it safe?
No.
Yeah.
why was it
not.
not safe?
Well,
It's
New York
underneath-
flooded.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
flooded?
I mean, not when was that? Whatever the last hurricane was, flooded. So, like, think about it like that. Now you have a sinkhole waiting to happen.
Just a nice rain tunnel that starts pouring into the basement of the synagogue.
Yeah. Just a highway for rats.
The funniest part of this whole thing is, okay, so there's this guy, his name is Richard Stosher. He's on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it now. And he put out a couple tweets that I think are the most comical thing. So on November 7th, 2023. So before all of this came out, this happened in the last week. He said, "There are Jews living under my apartment. I hear them. It's like they're digging or something. For the record, I live at ground level and do not have a basement."
Sounds crazy.
He has a second tweet, December 11th. "I swear I keep hearing Yiddish under the floor in my New York apartment." I look up this guy's Twitter and he goes and he's like, "For the record, I had to delete my original posts months ago because people called me schizophrenic and anti-Semitic." Can you imagine the
Well, that's
vindication
the
he's
truth,
feeling
man.
right now?
See, here Yiddish going on. You're like, I'm not a fucking asshole, but this is what? I don't know how else to describe it. There's these people that live between two like big Jewish centers. I hear Yiddish. Am I going crazy? Possibly.
I feel like this is just, I don't know if anyone can ever take hearing like that their friend says there's something underneath them in a city like unseriously anymore. There's got to be something there. If you hear people like scraping around, and I'm gonna believe my friends that are like, if you're saying there's like people below you that are like digging, I'm gonna
They must
believe
have-
it,
They must have not gone that deep. People are hearing.
right? I
It-
mean, you can see the plumbing coming down. They're not far below
Oh
this
yeah,
building.
They're like
They can see like the baseboards. They're like, oh shit, we're about to dig into this.
like
see, at that
yeah.
point, you got to fill a concrete tunnel with concrete. Like that's
that's a safety. If they went like a
Structural
couple
issue.
more feet down, you know, where they're
I imagine them with pickaxes just picking through
Yeah.
like sheer granite. That's the
They
hole
coulda-
I'm imagining. But now
they
you
coulda
told
gotten
me this, I'm
stand-up.
like digging through dirt. They see like pipes and shit. Like Clearly, you are not civil engineers.
It was not deep enough that in between buildings, I believe they had to chisel through chunks of like foundation. It was
Oh yeah,
not very
definitely
deep.
fill that tunnel. That's a what? Jeez, how did they not know that that's not acceptable? And they
Right?
start
Why didn't they were like, oh,
police-
okay, let's
Yeah,
chisel
they're
through
like,
instead of, oh, maybe we should go fucking deeper.
yeah, well, yeah. And what level are you like? Okay, yeah, we know it was a shitty tunnel. Like, fill it up. We're just being idiots. They're like, no, this is our bros. We're legit people. This is a serious thing we did. Like, fuck you, cops. I'm going to go to prison because of my tunnel that like is fucking dope, I think.
I like that topic. This is a serious thing we did. Meanwhile, they're like scraping the floor.
Yeah, they're like,
what's his name? Richard.
speaking in Yiddish too. Like, no, we can't say English down here. This is a low key thing. Like that crazy guy upstairs is tweeting about us. They knew. They must have known.
They
They've been
knew.
like,
They knew.
ah.
It just shows the younger generation doesn't have the same work ethic, you know? Like, I would have gone, like, feet down, tunneled across. It would have had lighting in there. That would have been a nice-ass tunnel, some El Chapo shit. Got a couple of redstone torches on the wall.
Right now, I don't know if this is exactly the perfect segue, but our other serious topic of the week, and I don't know how serious it is again based on these meeting notes, but Lil Biscuits.
Guns.
Should you buy a gun?
God damn. Yeah. You know, I didn't get to really go into all of the city life stuff that I wanted to, because I think we're missing a big, like, you all know about the coffee incident that I think we need to cover for the audience.
Go for it.
Like,
Give us
yeah,
your summary.
This
of
is
it.
why I'm thinking about getting a gun. So in San Francisco, which I spend half of my time, we were at a park, Golden Gate Park. They have a bunch of like arboretum, like terrarium, like greenhouse type stuff. So in this park, there's a bunch of fun stuff. They have some really cool museums, a bunch of cool tennis courts, facilities. My girlfriend and I go there, and we start leaving the car. And in San Francisco, it is well known that if you leave stuff in your car, you're gonna have your car broken into and robbed. Like, people leave on their windshields all the time. You'll see like, please don't break into my car. There's nothing in it. Like, these poor people who have had their windows shattered like 6 times because they park on the street. And so we were in this park at 1 p.m. on a Sunday going to the museum, and we walk 30 feet away from our car and we see a sick ass BMW, like X4 SUV. It's got dope suspension, like you can see the cool brakes on it, and it's super tinted out. And there's a guy that pops out of it and he starts peering into the back of cars. And then like they smash windows all day. They peer into the car, look what's in there, and they smash the window and get it. And you see this guy, there's 4 people next to this car that he's peering into that don't say anything. They look at him and they're like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? And then I'm like, I yell at him. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Because what? And he looks at me, peers back in the car. There's nothing there. He gets back into this car and they speed off to the next one to continue going down the line. And so we're like, well, we got to get back to our car, make sure that they know that there's nothing for them. Like, we just lay out, all we were doing was laying out everything in our car to be like, there's nothing here for you to steal. But then as we're at our car, we see the same BMW coming and passing by. And me being not well adapted to this city, I'm like, yeah, I go total full Karen, and I'm like, fuck these people. And I see them and I take my mocha cappuccino from Whole Foods earlier the day, and I chuck it 15 feet dead in the center of their windshield while I flip them off and yell like, fuck off, you dickheads. And I'm like, I feel good about it. I fucking nailed their windshield. I'm like, I fucking nailed that throw. Like, they're going to get out of here. They're not going to mess with our car. They stop the fucking car. And then I think, oh my God, reality comes sinking back in. And I'm like, they're going to come and like murder me, or I'm going to go to the ER and I have nothing. I don't even have my coffee anymore to defend myself. So I just stand there as I see them stop, and then all these things flash in my mind, and then thank God they just speed away. because they thought that I called the cops when I saw them earlier. Maybe maybe they didn't want a violent crime, whatever. But yeah, super dramatic incident with these criminals. And since then, I'm like, I need a way to defend myself. Yeah, I think like first of all, the classes behind a concealed carry, they cover all of these incidents. They're like, yeah, first of all, don't throw the coffee. Like, don't escalate. You don't want to get in a fight with criminals. But also, if you do get in this type of situation, which I've actually found myself in on multiple occasions, this wasn't the first time I've like yelled at a passing by car in a scary time. Like, I've had people run up on me and the person I was with pulled out a knife. But now I'm like, I need some way to like be safe. And I don't know if introducing a gun to the situation is safe, but you know, that's what brings me to the topic of like, should I get a gun?
Where
And
do you want to bring it? Where are the like top place? Like you said, okay, you're walking around Golden Gate Park. You're gonna
see,
keep
I
your-
wouldn't even have my gun. That'd be like, I don't have a fucking gun on me. I like, yeah, there's nothing in the car except for my gun. People would want to steal that. That'd be a hot item. They'd be like, oh shit, yeah, I can go kill
free
somebody
gun.
under this guy's registration. And so the more I think about it, I'm like, it's impractical. It's not something I really need. But then I'm also like, well, I should learn how to use a gun, learn how to protect myself with a gun. So if I'm ever in a situation where, like my parents' house, they have people steal their Amazon packages all the time. And I could just walk out and be like, hey.
We'll do a quick weekly sins review here. Shaggy, what you said you're drinking some rum today?
Yeah, I ran out of whiskey. I'm drinking Naval Island drinking rum. Yeah, it's pretty
Coconut
good.
flavored?
No, it's just regular rum. It's not much about rum, but it's brown rum and not the clear rum.
Fancy. What's the like flavor profile? Is there anything like super?
It's pretty rummy. Um, I don't really know rums very well, but it's a good rum. You know, I if you're used to only drinking Bacardi and whatever other cheap shit you can get, like it's a good rum in comparison. I've been sipping it straight, so like it's good enough to drink without mixing. Doesn't have that bite.
Throughout today's episode, so in my closet since about it's been months. I went to a hockey game and I was taking the train into town and I had pre-mixed some drinks in water bottles for me and my friends so that we could take them on the train into town. And one of them had brought his own jug of, I believe it was iced tea and whiskey. So I stashed this one back at home and I've been waiting to drink it for a while. And it is a nice mix of Mio, water, and vodka. It mostly just feels like I'm drinking shiny orange juice, but my tongue's going a little numb at this point. It's probably a better deal than anything I've ever bought at a bar, that's for sure. As I sip from my Dasani water bottle of vodka and sugar water.
Mio's pretty underrated nowadays.
Right? No one's been doing Mios for forever. Mio vodkas were the thing like 5 years ago. I know Biscuits was a big Mio vodka guy, or no, lemonade, the lemonade packets.
Yeah, I'm glad we moved on past that, really.
Yeah.
The crystal light is behind me.
The crystal light. What are you drinking there, Biscuits?
What am I drinking? Some classy Pinot Gris from Oregon.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like beer, but stronger and sweeter. And it feels classier.
I don't know if I've ever heard someone compare well, I guess this is canned Pinot Grigio is what
It's canned Pinot Grigio.
Is it fizzy?
It is not fizzy. You can get them fizzy though.
There's no effervescence.
I see a bottle right there too. Is that a Tripel? Is that a New Belgium?
It is. I also do have beer. Good old staple, the New Belgium Tripel. It's it does the job, and it tastes pretty good. It makes me feel classy.
There you go.
Because it has some like rum and people on it. I always feel like I'm in a Bathhouse, kind of. Yeah. I'm thinking more like
With your
big
boys?
pillars as I look out on my private island because I'm the emperor, and I just see these arches in the water, and I'm like, yes, yes, exactly.
And that's our weekly sin.
I feel like I'm bombing.
We're
God
gonna cut
damn it.
to Brennan doing the least talked about sport of the week, and then wrap up and end.
Well, this week on Brennan's least talked about sport of the week, I'm sure basketball's talked about a lot, but this week we're talking about Nebraska ball, namely Nebraska Cornhuskers basketball. This is a program that's been around for 127 years. They have only made the NCAA tournament 6 times as a power conference school, and they also did not actually make the tournament until 1986 when the tournament started in 1939. So it's not the most proud program in college basketball, and they're actually the only power conference team to never have won a game in the NCAA tournament. But right now, it seems like they're at least going to get a shot. They've only made it one time in this century, and they just beat the number 1 team in the country, Purdue, at home. And they're fun and they're flexible. Kisei Tominaga, if I didn't say that right, I do apologize. He's leading them in scoring. He's just a guard who feels like he can create from anywhere. He's a good shooter, gets to the free throw line. And they have this Dutch kid whose last name is Mast. I cannot remember his first name, but he's just long. He's kind of old school, like shooting baby hooks, but he can make threes too. It's just a fun team. And it's also coached by Scott Hoiberg, the former coach of the Chicago Bulls, whose grandfather coached in Nebraska in the 50s. So it's just a fun story right now. I know Nebraska's a lot more well known for their beast volleyball team and a football team that wishes they were that. But basketball might have a moment, and let's just keep an eye on them.
Oh no, the car exploded.
And we're back. I'd like to give a quick thank you to Lil Biscuits for joining the pod today.
Thanks for having me, boss. It's been a pleasure.
And Shaggy, as always. And thanks to David for popping in as well. Our Broncos interviews. And we'll see everybody next week. Have a good evening.
That's it.
Love you.
That's it.